Hello, my name is Angela Harrington, and this is my proposal for research on professional artists and digital literacy. So, because of the lack of current scholarly articles on professional artists and their search behaviors, more research is needed to obtain information on this distinctive community. The available research focuses on art students, not on artists who have entered the professional realm. Most of the research is outdated. There have only been about 3 studies on art students and information-seeking behaviors in the last 5 years. Also, there are no in-depth studies on professional artists and digital literacy. The research available shows that artists are highly individualistic. They discover or create their own sources of knowledge and are often given little guidance on how to obtain information efficiently in post-secondary education, and they browse heavily. The research suggests that there is an increasing reliance on technology. However, these studies were performed during the 1990s to early 2000s when the internet was becoming increasingly popular. Artists use online search engines, but not efficiently. They use online searching in the same way that they would use a book for browsing. My research problem is that professional artists have many informational needs, such as images, and they also need written information on a variety of non-art related topics to inform and inspire their work, such as news articles on current events, and also works by other artists, which means that image collections or specialized libraries may not meet all the needs of professional artists, since these kinds of libraries only meet 1 or 2 of the artist's informational needs. Professional artists also underutilize library services, which leads to invisibility to LIS practitioners and researchers, and few research studies on professional artists are conducted by LIS practitioners. My research questions are: do professional artists have low digital literacy rates? Is efficiency in finding information an important skill for professional artists? And what role does digital literacy have in how professional artists find information? In order to understand how digital literacy correlates to information-seeking behaviors, digital literacy must be clearly defined from information-seeking behavior. Information-seeking behaviors are defined as how information is found and utilized, and digital literacy is defined as competence in using current technologies to find relevant information efficiently. In the population of professional artists is difficult to define, as there are many artists who also work in other professions. For this study, the study population will be practicing artists that dedicate time to their art on a full-time basis. And to narrow the population, practicing artists must also be over the age of 21, because this study focuses on digital literacy rates of artists who have either received post-secondary education or have begun a career in creating art as their primary source of income. The study population will include professional artists regardless of gender or gender identity, and will also include professional artists who work in any medium, including but not limited to ceramics, sculpture, painting, photography, fabrics, etc. My sample will most likely be a purposeful sampling, as I believe that finding artists that meet the criteria of a professional artist as defined by this research may be difficult to differentiate from other artists. My plan to sample this population is to send out a call for participants to community art galleries within the United States with the researchers' contact information and a brief description of the research being conducted. I have also chosen to use a physical survey rather than an online survey to eliminate technological complications for participants who may have low digital literacy and to gain a representative sample. It is my hope that those willing to complete the survey might also be agreeable to an interview, and the intention would be that participants are surveyed and then follow-up interviews will be scheduled, and I expect that not every participant surveyed will agree to an interview. My data collection instrument will be a mixed method study to provide qualitative and quantitative data, and I'll use a survey with open-ended questions about computer and internet use, library use, and information seeking behavior, and also to conduct interviews that are semi-structured and face-to-face. Data collected will be separated by age, gender, and artistic medium, and age separations will be made to determine a correlation between age and confidence in using technology. Also, an age separation will be made to test Vic Boyd's hypothesis that digital literacy is a continuum that cannot be defined by age. Gender separations will be made to test Tori Gregory's findings of gender variables in her study on studio art faculty, and artistic medium separations will be made to determine if there is a correlation between artists who use different mediums and digital literacy. After the data is collected, an open coding approach will be used to analyze the data gathered in this research project. Data gathered will be coded first by relevant topics, then categories will be made based on the topics. As human subjects will be involved in this study, I will obtain consent through a signed consent form that details the purpose of the research, risks and benefits to the participant, confidentiality, the research contract information, a statement on voluntary participation, and a statement that participation refusal will not result in penalty or loss. Ethical considerations for the study include protecting the anonymity of participants and handling off-the-record information. Because interviews will be conducted face-to-face, a response bias may appear, and it is conceivable that participants with low digital literacy will try to appear less so to the researcher. Limitations within the survey method are possible. A low response rate to the survey due to the sampling design, and the response rate of the interview method is dependent on the survey response rate, which could severely affect the sample size of the interviews. In order to prevent this, a small incentive could be offered if the budget allows for it. Respondents may not answer all of the questions as well, and time will affect the research method and the sample size, as coding and analyzing the data is time-consuming. And finally, the significance of the proposed study is to fill a gap in the literature about professional artists' digital literacy skills and information needs, because the literature available is nearly 30 years old. The research on professional artists and digital literacy skills is non-existent. However, the community of professional artists have a need for LIST practitioners and therefore deserve their attention. The research shows that artists use libraries to browse, but not for library services. Through this research, LIST practitioners can understand the particular needs of professional artists and provide better services for this community. New services provided by libraries can include tutorials and workshops on how to use image databases. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.